The sun rises over Riyadh, gilding the city's skyline with light that reflects off glass towers and desert sand. Motorcades begin to move across the capital's wide avenues, police escorts clearing the way toward one of the day's most closely watched diplomatic arrivals. Within moments, a convoy carrying Syrian interim President Ahmad al-Shareh approaches the royal terminal. The visit marks a new moment in Syria's slow return to regional diplomacy. The Saudi capital, accustomed to high-profile gatherings, is hosting the Future Investment Initiative, a global forum where policy meets finance and where leaders, economists and investors debate the shape of tomorrow's economy. But this morning, attention shifts briefly away from business toward politics. Cameras capture the moment Prince Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Abdulaziz, the deputy governor of Riyadh region, steps forward to greet the Syrian leader. Ahmad al-Shareh descends from his car, adjusting his jacket, his expression calm yet purposeful. The two men exchange a handshake, firm, deliberate, and rich in symbolism. Around them, aides move swiftly, photographers position their lenses, and Saudi officials observe with practiced formality. For the first time in years, a representative of Syria's interim government stands on Saudi soil under official protocol, welcomed by a member of the royal family. The handshake lingers for a few seconds, long enough to suggest intent. It is not a casual greeting, but a diplomatic signal. The region has been shifting, and Syria's long isolation may be easing. Behind closed doors, officials speak of reconstruction funds, border stability, and gradual normalization. On camera, the gestures are subtle, but for regional observers, each movement carries weight. As the meeting begins inside a modest reception hall, the two delegations exchange courteous remarks. Al-Shareh thanks the Saudi leadership for the invitation and expresses hope that this encounter will open a new page based on mutual respect and regional cooperation. His words echo through microphones carefully placed on a polished wooden table. Prince Mohammed nods and responds with equal formality, reaffirming the kingdom's commitment to support dialogue and stability across Arab lands. The visual rhythm remains steady, medium shots of the Saudi host, then of the Syrian guest. The language of diplomacy is performed not only through words, but through posture and tone. Both sides understand that this encounter, though short, will be broadcast widely. In Riyadh's halls of power, symbolism often speaks louder than statements. Beyond the meeting room, the wider agenda awaits. The Future Investment Initiative is set to open with senior ministers and CEOs. Yet al-Shareh's arrival adds a new layer of intrigue. His presence is not merely ceremonial. Reports indicate he may deliver a short address on Syria's reconstruction prospects and the potential for private investment in renewable energy, housing, and infrastructure. For a nation scarred by war, even the hint of reintegration into regional economic discussions is notable. The Saudi hosts, meanwhile, view the visit as part of a broader policy recalibration. In recent years, the kingdom has sought to balance its global investment ambitions with its regional responsibilities. Welcoming a Syrian delegation to Riyadh, especially under the interim banner, suggests an openness to gradual reconciliation without overtly challenging international frameworks. The optics are carefully managed. State television limits commentary, focusing instead on the handshake and the exchange of greetings. As cameras pan across the hall, we see officials standing in pairs, Saudi staff in tailored thobes and shamars, Syrian representatives in dark suits. The body language is measured, neither exuberant nor stiff. Interpreters stand close, ready to bridge linguistic gaps, while protocol officers ensure each movement follows diplomatic order. In the background, the hum of air conditioning and the faint buzz of media equipment underscore the controlled environment. This brief arrival sequence, though lasting less than a minute on screen, carries the narrative foundation for an entire chapter in Arab diplomacy. It signals that dialogue, once unthinkable, is now being staged in the open. Riyadh's gradual reopening toward Damascus has been building over months, quiet consultations, humanitarian coordination, and cautious talk about refugees and border security. Al-Shareh's presence in the Saudi capital gives those discussions visible form. The Syrian leader's path to this point has been complex. Appointed as interim president during a transitional arrangement backed by segments of the Syrian opposition and supported by regional mediators, al-Shareh has worked to position himself as a pragmatic figure, one who speaks of reconstruction rather than retribution and of governance rather than factionalism. His challenge remains immense: to rebuild credibility at home while convincing regional powers that Syria's future can be inclusive. For Saudi Arabia, the calculation is equally nuanced. Hosting al-Shareh does not amount to full diplomatic recognition of Syria's interim government, but it reflects a willingness to explore incremental engagement. In the evolving landscape of Middle Eastern politics, where rivalries are being recalibrated, this cautious outreach fits the pattern: dialogue without commitment, presence without endorsement, yet each step lays groundwork for the next. As al-Shareh prepares for his participation in the Future Investment Initiative AIDS Review draft remarks, the theme aligns with the forum's central message: investing in humanity. His planned address, though not confirmed in detail, is expected to highlight Syria's natural resources, the resilience of its people, and the potential for Arab-led recovery efforts. Whether or not major investors respond remains uncertain, but his appearance alone reshapes the narrative: Syria seeking inclusion rather than isolation. Inside Riyadh's gleaming conference halls, preparations continue. Technicians adjust microphones, cameras line the aisles, and screens display the forum's logo, a stylized arc symbolizing growth and connection. Delegates from across the world have gathered: ministers from Africa, Europe, and Asia, executives from energy and technology sectors, and representatives of development funds. Against this backdrop, the Syrian presence offers both contrast and continuity, a reminder that economic dialogue in the Middle East is inseparable from politics. Later in the day, when al-Shareh enters the main auditorium, the atmosphere will shift. The Saudi hosts will introduce him not as a head of state, but as a representative of Syria's transitional authority. Still, the applause that follows will mark a subtle acknowledgement: the return of a Syrian voice to a regional stage. His remarks, expected to last under 15 minutes, will call for investment partnerships that bypass politics and focus on rebuilding livelihoods. The tone, according to early drafts, will be pragmatic, emphasizing self-reliance and cooperation with Arab neighbors. For viewers following the event across networks, the visual cues will be telling: the calm composure of Saudi hosts, the careful phrasing of translation, the brief but deliberate handshake after the speech. Diplomacy here unfolds as theatre, every gesture deliberate, every silence meaningful. Outside the conference venue, Riyadh continues its daily rhythm. Cars stream past billboards promoting Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia's plan to diversify its economy beyond oil. Cafes fill with young professionals discussing tech startups and real estate. In this environment, the Syrian leader's presence represents both history and hope, a bridge between past conflict and potential integration into the region's economic narrative. Analysts point out that Saudi Arabia's decision to receive al-Shareh aligns with its broader mediation strategy. Having already facilitated talks between rival factions in Yemen and hosted summits on Gaza reconstruction, the kingdom positions itself as a central convener in post-conflict dialogues. Extending that role to the Syrian file would reinforce its regional influence and demonstrate continuity in its diplomacy. Back in the reception hall, the meeting between Prince Mohammed and al-Shareh concludes with a short exchange of pleasantries. The two men pose briefly for photographs, their expressions polite, their words inaudible, but their intent visible. The cameras click, the flash reflects on polished marble, and the officials begin to file out. The scene fades, but its significance endures, an image of contact after years of estrangement. For viewers, the moment captures a delicate balance: optimism tempered by caution. There are no formal agreements, no public statements beyond the handshake, yet the tone of mutual respect is unmistakable. It suggests that the Arab world's internal divisions, though deep, are not permanent. As the day progresses, international delegates arrive at the Future Investment Initiative. Conversations turn once more to technology, energy and sustainability, but in side rooms and corridors, the topic of Syria's participation surfaces repeatedly. Some investors express curiosity, others skepticism, but all acknowledge the symbolism of the visit. The presence of a Syrian official at a global investment forum hosted by Saudi Arabia speaks to shifting regional dynamics, where economic opportunity begins to soften political divides. Later, when footage of the meeting circulates on Arab television and online platforms, commentary will vary. Some outlets will frame it as a sign of normalization. Others will caution against reading too much into a protocol gesture. For Riyadh, that ambiguity serves a purpose. It allows space for dialogue without obligation, progress without publicity. In the evening, the skyline of Riyadh glows again, the city preparing for gala sessions of the investment forum. Al-Shareh's delegation retires to a hotel near King Abdullah Financial District, reviewing notes and preparing for bilateral meetings scheduled with representatives from Egypt, the UAE, and Jordan. While official communiques remain limited, insiders confirm that discussions will center on humanitarian aid channels, infrastructure planning, and future energy collaboration. Every diplomatic visit tells a story in fragments: the arrivals, the handshakes, the brief words captured on camera. Today's episode, brief as it appears, marks one such fragment in the broader effort to reintegrate a fractured nation into its regional environment. Whether this will lead to tangible agreements remains to be seen, but for now, the symbolism of Ahmad al-Shareh's arrival in Riyadh carries its own resonance, the image of dialogue returning where silence once prevailed. And as the closing images show the Saudi deputy governor accompanying his guest toward the exit, the sense of ceremony remains intact. A moment of protocol, a gesture of diplomacy, modest in length, significant in meaning. In the measured cadence of Arab statecraft, such moments often foreshadow larger shifts. For now, Riyadh's message to Damascus and to the watching world is clear. Engagement, not exclusion, will shape the region's next chapter.